Hello everyone. In this class we'll study about structure of eye. The eye is a special organ of the sense of sight. In adult human eyeball anterior posterior diameter is about 24 millimeters. The human eyeball has three principal layers, that is outer protective layer sclera, middle vascular layer choroid where uveal tract is present, the inner neural retina which lies the posterior two-thirds of the choroid. The light rays enter through the transparent cornea, that is, sclera is modified anteriorly to form transparent cornea. The crystalline lens is a transparent structure held in place by suspensory ligament, which are called as zonules. Zonule is attached to thickened rim of smooth muscle, the ciliary body. The functions of the ciliary body are it helps in the formation of the aqueous humor and keeps the lens in position. So this is the structure which are showing three layers of uh, eyeball, that is mainly the sclera outer, the inner choroid, vascular, and inner retina, that is neural, contains of rods and cones. If you see the structure anteriorly, you can see the anterior chamber uh, and above which the cornea and below which you have the crystalline lens. And you can see the ciliary bodies, which are the part of the choroid plexus which helps in the maintenance of the lens, shape of the lens and the curvature of the lens. Ciliary body contains circular and longitudinal muscle fibers that attach near the corneoscleral junction. In front of the lens lies a pigmented and opaque iris, that is the colored portion of the eye. Iris has two sets of smooth muscles, sphincter pupillae, which are circular muscles which are going to constrict the pupil and is supplied by the parasympathetic fibers through oculomotor nerve. And the nucleus for the integrating center is Edinger-Westphal nucleus. And for direct dilator pupil, which are radial, are supplied by sympathetic nerve fibers. Coming to retina, the retina extends from the margin of the optic disc to just behind the ciliary body, where it ends abruptly as a dentated border known as ora serrata. It is organized in 10 layers and contains rods and cones, which are visual receptors. Retina has four types of neurons: bipolar cells, ganglion cells, horizontal cells, and amacrine cells. The rods and cones, which are next to the choroids, synapse with bipolar cells, and the bipolar cells synapse ganglion cells. The axons of ganglion cells converge and leave the eye as an optic nerve. Horizontal cells connect the receptors cells to the other receptor cells in the outer plexiform layer. Amacrine cells connect ganglion cells to the another cell in the inner plexiform layer via processes of varying length and patterns. The neural elements of retina are bound together by glial cells, which are called as Muller cells. The processes of these cells form an internal limiting membrane on inner surface of the retina and an external limiting membrane in the receptor layer. Optical nerve leaves retina from the optic disc, which lies 3 millimeters medial to and slightly above the posterior pole. So these are the 10 layers of retina, which starts from pigment epithelium, then a photoreceptor layer, outer limiting membrane, outer nuclear layer, which are cords, which are made up of rods and cones, and outer plexiform layer, then inner nuclear layer, which are made up of bipolar, amacrine, and horizontal cells, then inner plexiform, and ganglion cell layer, which are made up of again ganglion cells. Then you have nerve fiber and inner limiting membrane. Fundus oculi or fundus. The posterior part of the interior of the eyeball is called as fundus oculi or fundus. The fundus can be examined by ophthalmoscope. The fundus has two important structures, that is optic disc or blind spot. It is situated near the center of the posterior wall of the eyeball. Optic disc is formed by the convergence of axons from ganglion cells. It contains all the layers of retina except rods and cones. Therefore, it is insensitive to light. That is, object is not seen if image falls on this area. Because of this, optic disc is known as blind spot. Macula lutea or yellow spot near the posterior pole of the eye is yellowish pigmented spot called as macula lutea, which measures around 5.5 millimeters in diameter. The central 1.5 millimeter of the macula is termed as fovea, which has a small central depression called foveola. The fovea is the region of greatest acuity of vision as it contains only cones, and each cone directly relay on single cone, and wide presentation in occipital primary visual area, and all the layers of retina are shifted aside, leaving cones to be hit directly by the cones. Coming to vitreous humor, space between lens and the retina is filled primarily with the clear gelatinous material called as vitreous humor, which containing water, collagen fibrils, mucopolysaccharides, and hyaluronic acid. The functions of vitreous humor are they prevents collapse of the eyeball, helps in maintaining normal intraocular pressure, helps in they keeps the intraocular structure in position, and thus helps in normal positioning of image on retina. Aqueous humor. Aqueous humor is a thin clear liquid that fills the space between lens and cornea. It is produced in the ciliary body by ultrafiltration and active transport from plasma at the rate of 2 cubic millimeters per minute. It flows through the pupil and fills the anterior chamber of the eye. It is normally reabsorbed through network of trabeculae into canal of Schlemm and uvuscleral outflow, the venous channel that at the junction between iris and cornea. Refractive index of the aqueous humor is 1.336 and pH is 7.1 to 7.3. The space between the lens and cornea is divided into anterior and posterior chamber by iris. The space between iris and cornea is anterior chamber. Space between iris and lens is posterior chamber. Both the chambers are filled with aqueous humor and they communicate with each other through the pupil. Functions. It helps in the maintenance of normal intraocular pressure. It is the second medium of refraction. It provides nutrition to the cornea and lens, and takes place the lymph as it is absent in the eye. Aqueous humor contains proteins, electrolytes, that is mainly sodium, potassium, bicarbonate and chloride, and non-electrolytes like glucose, urea, and uric acid. Organic acids like ascorbic acid, lactic acid, and hyaluronic acid, and dissolved oxygen. Mechanism of formation of aqueous humor: mainly ultrafiltration and some amount by active secretion. If you see the circulation of the aqueous humor, it is formed from the posterior chamber by ciliary processes. Then it enters into the from the posterior chambers through the pupil to the anterior chamber, then enters into the canal of Schlemm at the limbus, and then to episcleral venous plexuses. Circulation is necessary for both metabolic processes and to regulate the intraocular pressure. Any disturbance in the normal flow may increase the intraocular tension, leading to glaucoma. Glaucoma. Glaucoma is a degenerative disease in which there is loss of retinal ganglia cells. Obstruction of the canal of Schlemm leads to increased intraocular pressure. Increased intraocular pressure does not cause glaucoma, but it worsens glaucoma. There are two types of glaucoma, that is open angle glaucoma and closed angle glaucoma. Open angle glaucoma, here the cause of increased pressure is decreased permeability through the trabecular meshwork, through which the aqueous humor is drained. Wherein angle closure glaucoma, here there is a forward movement of iris which obliterates the anterior chamber angle, that is the angle between iris and the cornea, thereby block the opening of trabecular meshwork at the angle. Normal intraocular pressure is 10 to 21 millimeters of mercury. Pressure in venous plexus is around 10 to 15 millimeters of mercury. This difference helps in continuous drainage of aqueous humor to venous plexuses. Two important factors maintaining normal intraocular pressure are rate of formation and rate of reabsorption. So this is in brief about the structure of the eye and aqueous humor. Thank you.